Thanks.
All right, everyone, that was the end of Flat Earth Radio this week with Mad Mike Hughes, WTF Radio. So you can catch that at madmikehughes.com. Very soon, I'll probably have it set up by tomorrow, a, a podcast account so you can check out the archives there on his site, madmikehughes.com. And earlier he was talking about the parachutes they used, and yeah, he still has parts from his nearly horizontal rocket jump from 2014. If you want to hit him up, he is accessible through his site, madmikehughes.com. Reach out to him while you can, because once this Science Channel production begins, he's going to be hard to reach. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you what I was talking about a minute ago. So I hit up Mick West from Metabunk and I said, in reference to this animated GIF. Now, if you're a sentient conscious being, you know that that is a mouse. If you've ever seen a mouse in your life, you know that's a mouse. Just look at its ears. Oh, look, the ear is brushing up against the surface on the inside of the Merlin 1D rocket engine. Oh, look, the mouse's tail's moving. It's moving consistently with the way that a mouse moves. It's a little quadruped creeping really close to the ground. Very interested to know how it's not crushed flat against the engine, the Merlin 1D engine right now. It should be going, I think, 800 miles per hour. That's a mouse. But there are some people who are not allowed to say it's a mouse. There are some people who will default to the consensus explanation because they are servants of the Matrix. For example, I emailed Mick West and I said, hey Mick, there's a rat on the Merlin 1D rocket engine of SpaceX's CRS-19 launch. This was on December 5th, 2019. He took the whole night to think about it. I don't think he slept. And his response was, it's a video compression artifact. Mick West of Metabunk says this mouse is a video compression artifact. What does that say about his judgment, his discernment? He didn't zoom in. He didn't crop any pictures, show me close ups. He didn't compare them to existing artifacts. He didn't make a case, but he just stated it's a video compression artifact. So, okay, I'll take you at your word. You actually believe that, Mick. So, yes, I decided that anybody who is going to push the bogus line that this thing is made out of ice or it's a video compression artifact, you get a free ticket to Timbuktu. If you don't know what Timbuktu is basically it's a town full of people who used to be regular people before they were, quote, memed to Timbuktu. And you look here, quote, the best way to prevent video compression artifacts is with a year-round pest control plan. Because, of course, these are video compression artifacts, not dead mice. According to Mick West of Metabunk. Jack Boy says there are 4 visible movements on both rocket cams. Oh, yeah. I mean, the one I was looking at, the main one, is the one that's the hardest to deny. You know, the other one you could say, okay, that's ice. Oh, that's space dust. Oh, that's just a video compression artifact. You know, most people will see this and they'll say, I don't know, let me wait till Snopes comes up with an answer. And that's why I went straight to Mick West, because he's Metabunk. So I'm like, let me be the one to break the news to him that it's over. The gig is over. We know what we know. We know that this is not in outer space. This is a model, a scale model of the rocket. Marty Moose says, I've seen thousands of compression artifacts and 0 look like a mouse wiggling around. Well, let me take the expert, Mick West, at his word. Okay, let's say that's a video compression artifact. Show me anywhere where we've seen something even slightly similar. Worst excuse ever. He wasn't the only one. We have a few other people who were denying their senses. Oh yeah, oh yeah, here's a good one. Jim Panda said it was aluminum. Do you know who Jim Panda is? I don't. I think he's on the other side of the pond. I'm waiting for Red's rhetoric to come out and call it a smudge. This is what I really want to see. I want Fight the Flat Earth to come out and defend that thing. So if anybody knows where Craig's at, is he awake right now? Craig, Fight the Flat Earth, if you're listening. Oh, yeah, he said foil. Excuse me. I thought he said aluminum foil. Jim Panda said ice. Somebody else said foil. I did find one made out of ice so we can compare them. Okay, so here is a mouse made out of ice, as you can see here. That's not a mouse, it's ice, but it's shaped like a mouse. So you can understand why, if you were to see this and call it a mouse, like, well, you're not totally wrong. It is technically a mouse, or looks like a mouse, but it's ice. Okay, that's one possible explanation for this. Does that look like an ice cube or a handful of ice cubes on a rocket going 800 miles per hour into low Earth orbit? And the ice just configures itself to look like a mouse, retain its integrity, even as it moves like a mouse? Amazing. Lickety Split says it could be foil from the Moonlander. Yeah, I considered that. There could be a lot of foil in low Earth orbit from all these previous craft. And see, here you go. So these two mice here, and these actually look right. These look like wharf rats with the long snouts, which is kind of what that one looks like. So does that look like aluminum to you? Mudflutter says it's frozen space junk. New Perspective says it's like they're gaslighting us with an AE looking ice wall graphic in the background. Yes, I thought the same exact thing. In fact, I'm doing a painting right now of this. And right now, I just finished painting the ocean. I'm letting it dry while I'm live streaming here so I can come back and do the final layers. I've already painted the mouse, but yeah, it looks like the edge of the flat earth right there. It's kind of funny. Lando Rock says, at those speeds, that rat should be a smudge. Bitlaw says, it could easily be a few pieces of foil that happen to resemble a rat. I smell a rat here with bit loss. I bet you the guy doesn't have the guts to call in. So if you're going to defend that as aluminum foil, please call in. Please call in. If you have any other entertaining, ridiculous theories about that mouse, please give me a call. 505-510-4226. We could all use a laugh. Skyrocket says, how can it be foil if you can see it walking? Bitlaw says, says smell a rat. That's not an argument. Hey man, this is not a debate. Either that it's a mouse or it's not a mouse. And if you're going to assert it's not a mouse, that it's aluminum foil or ice or whatever, I want you to explain to me how it works. Because let's say Mick West is right. Okay, let's just say Mick West has it right, and it is video compression. It's a video compression artifact. Okay, well, Mick, how does a video compression artifact have a shadow consistent with the direction of the light? There's a light shining, as you can see, from left to right, and the shadow follows the mouse perfectly. The ears brush up against the rim. They go flat and they go out again. Bitlaw says, I'm extremely bit hurt and I can't call because I don't want to be embarrassed and I have no balls. Hey man, that's cool. I'm not really interested in what you got. If you don't have the character to call in, that's fine. Be an anonymous loser. Why do I care? Hide. Stay in your safe space. One thing I don't really respect, I don't respect anonymous opinions. They're highly suspect. Like, what are you hiding? Seriously, what are you hiding? I mean, besides the fact that you're defending a billionaire who advances statism, like what is it that you got that you can't really come out and defend yourself? Bitloss says it's not a rat. Call in, Bitloss. Tell us what it is. And also explain to me how 2 plus 2 equals 5, because that's your frame of reference, right? You're speaking for Big Brother. Russ T27 says, do we have a full video, a longer video? What do you think? You know, we're the ones who do the research here. Yeah, this was the CRS-19 launch from December 5th, 2019, in which they had, quote, genetically modified mighty mice being sent to the space station to do some experiments about preventing muscle deterioration while in zero G. So yeah, we looked at the video. This is from the video, and this is not the only time we see the damn mouse, and every time it looks like a mouse. So you want to tell me this is made out of Play-Doh or aluminum foil or space ice or whatever? By all means, do so. But explain to me how you arrived at that conclusion and not the most likely conclusion, that being what it looks like and what it moves like, what it apparently is. And again, the fact that there was a mouse being sent, many mice being sent to the space station on this launch day tells you everything. They had a few escapees. A few escapees got away from the cage. They didn't want to go to the space station. They didn't want to do any experiments. So they nested in the Merlin 1D rocket. And then late one night, their studios are open and they're going to fake the launch. So they turn on the lights, they turn on the engine, and it wakes up the family of mice who've taken up residence inside of it. And you can see them just scurrying out. Their house is on fire. I mean, what else is there? Russ T says it looks like a rat for sure. I want to see what happens after the loop. Okay, I'm just glad that you're at least not lying to yourself right there. Bitlaw says, tell me there's no way for a foil to happen to resemble a mouse on poor resolution video. Okay, so you think this might be foil. Let's go with the foil for a moment. For one thing, it couldn't be one piece. You can see that it goes partially beneath the rim. So whatever this foil is, the ears or the parts that are looking like ears actually move as though they're mounted on a head. The ears move back when they brush up against the rim and they flop back like ears do. The tail waves back and forth as it walks and the shadow follows it. So you want to say this is foil. I want to know, are you being paid to defend billionaires? Or are you doing this for free? Out of the kindness of your heart, you're protecting their bullshit propaganda. What is it? What's your incentive here to say that that's aluminum foil? You're not going to 1984 me and have me saying, yeah, you're holding up 5 fingers when it's 4. Jackboy says, yep, started 18 minutes on 1080 HD at 0.25 speed and deny it. By all means, deny it. We want you on record denying it. If you're going to go on record calling this thing aluminum foil or ice or whatever, we want to be able to make a meme out of you, throw you in Timbuktu, just so we have a record that, oh, this person threw away their credibility. This agent. Linda Curtis says, why would there even be foil? Does foil survive that speed? Good point. Ron XYZ says, just more fake space. Oh, look, let's take it one step further. I know this is going to hurt those of you who still believe in Elon Musk. This is going to hurt you really bad. If this is a mouse, well, then it's not traveling. Let's start with that. If this is a mouse, and it is a mouse, it's not traveling up into space. Witsa says, has anyone worked out the proportions? Looks like an 18-inch rat. It looks like an 18-inch rat or a scaled-down model of the Merlin engine. It's one of the two. Bitlaw says, I, Trent Yates, go on record. I am an agent of billionaires, and I was paid to say it's not a rat. I want you to call in and say it on record that you could. I want to hear you deny it. I love it. I love reality deniers. I love debating with the Mandela affected. You want to call in and tell me that's not a mouse? Please do it. Tell me, and I want to know what your expertise is. How many videos have you edited? How many years of video editing do you have? Photoshop, graphic design. Because I'm experienced enough with editing, with graphic design, I could actually hand animate. That is, with my phone, I could take a clip of video and frame by frame, I could insert a mouse that looks like that. Like, could you? Like, I know what I'm looking at here. That's a mouse. He says, I don't want to call in right now. I'm scared. Why go on phone? Well, because anonymous people don't have any credibility with the Infinite Plane Society because we're evidence-based. Hearsay doesn't matter. And you seem a little triggered. So what I'd like to do is remove you from the chat. You're gone. And if you want to call in, we'll let you back in. It's that simple. Anonymous people don't have any credibility. So aside from one anonymous guy in the chat, nobody here is asserting that that's not a mouse. Just one guy. And look, we got rid of him. We got rid of him because he's not willing to call in, which makes me wonder, who was that? You know, who was it? Apparently, whoever it was, they weren't willing to put their credibility on the line. They didn't want to put their intellect on the mind. They didn't want to look dumb in front of all of us. Russ said, I was the only one at my work that called it fake. People need to wake up. A call all day 2323 says scale model. Movie productions use scale models. Oh, yeah, they use scale models on the space shuttle. Rockstar to B says, what would Joe Rogan say? Joe Rogan's going to say whatever the people who have his balls in a jar tell him to say. He's not going to see it. He's going to say it's ice. He's going to say, I don't know, what does Snopes say? Yeah, sad for BitLoss, really. I have a feeling that BitLoss is probably Fight the Flat Earth, Simon Dan, Godless Engineer, or Red's Rhetoric. One of these paid government agent shills who are allowed to engage in things that are against the terms of service. I'm not allowed to create hit pieces and bully people for fun, call them stupid. I lose my channel. Not that I would do it. But these guys can because it's open season on the people who question SpaceX. But you want to call me stupid because I'm calling a mouse a mouse? Go for it, but do it on the phone. Interesting point here. Alto says 9/11 footage is filled with scale models. Could be photoshopped. No, look, obviously this thing's not in outer space. This is a mouse on the exterior of the rocket. How many other channels are talking about this? I want to know this, okay? Because I'm telling you what, this mouse looks more mousy than Jaren's ISS transits look like actual ISS space stations crossing in front of the moon. I think his transits look like clip art dragged across stock footage of the moon. That's what it looks like to me. So I'd like to know, are they going to talk about this or are they going to have to defend it? Because if you're defending the space station as a way of gatekeeping and guardrailing the issue, you're going to have to defend this. So before you put a video up about this, you might want to, I don't know, consult with your superiors because this is damning. This is not like Starman that makes Elon Musk look kind of like a lone bad actor fooling people. No, this is something going to the space station. It went to the space station. Lean Dion says of mice bringing down very rich men. Yeah, no doubt. Think about that. One of the richest men in the world, one of the few members of the billionaire balloon club, Pope Elon, Martian Pope, brought down by a single mouse. That's why I thought it was a Chinese spy, an agent, a communist saboteur, because China wants to hit Mars first so they don't have to deal with capitalism. They want to plant the flag on the red planet for red China. So of course they would want to sabotage him. And I'm like, well, maybe that's what they did. But if you look at the story, and we've covered this ad nauseum on this channel, they did in fact you got to see these headlines because you're not going to believe it. SpaceX sending genetically modified mice to space. They're calling them mighty mice. SpaceX is sending super muscular mice to the space station. That was December 5th. That's this launch. I mean, think about this. Rodent Research 19 experiment, scientists genetically engineered mice that lack myostatin, a protein that limits how much the animal's muscles can grow. This causes the mice to have twice the amount of skeletal muscle mass as normal mice. Did that look like an especially muscular mouse? But you know what this is a reference to, right? Mighty Mouse is a mouse that goes into outer space and he doesn't need a spacesuit. When was the last time you saw a mouse in outer space without a spacesuit? I mean, I've seen mice in the ISS, but I've never seen a mouse in outer space. Not since this one. Not since Mighty Mouse. So again, is there anybody else here willing to defend this garbage? It's awfully quiet, which is a good thing. So the next stage here, the next thing we need to do is we need to bring this to the attention by name of all of the people who are defending this stuff day in, day out for a living. And I have no problem with them making a living. I hope you get rich mocking flat earthers. What do I care? Free speech. My thing is, if you're claiming to be the arbiter of truth, you say that we're being dishonest, that we're not on the side of truth, that we're liars, we're deceivers, or whatever. Well, prove it. Prove to me. So fight the flat earth if this gets to you. I would like you to look at this and debunk it. Do your best. Tell me that on top of your head right there, it's nothing more than a video compression artifact. Or is that ice? Or is it aluminum foil? What's that jumping on FTFE's head? Anyone? Put a 1 if you think it's a mouse. Put a 2 if you think it's ice. Put a 3 if you think it's aluminum foil. Yeah, Mick Toon also needs to answer for this. Anybody who's ever defended the ISS has to answer for this immediately. Anyone who's defended the existence of the space station. Calling all Earth-shaped field agents tiers 1, 2, and 3. You need to start putting out some content. Marty Moose says it's a mouse. Russ says it's a mouse. Does anybody here think this is video compression? Nothing but ones. Red Rooster Truther says that's a mouse. Post Globe Syndicate says mouse. Anybody else here think? Let me email Mick West again and ask him, hey man, is this aluminum foil? Is it ice? Or is that a video compression artifact? Nothing but ones here. Mudflutter says that's Fight the Flat Earth's hair. Could be. That could be his hair. And then of course, since it's a video compression artifact, it's only looking like a mouse. Kind of like this is aluminum foil or space ice, and it just looks like a mouse. Because that's what things do. Like, if you were to just take a fistful of ice and just throw it on the floor, it's going to form into the shape of a mouse, and it's going to run, and it's going to go probably under something. It's going to go under the fridge or something. And you're not going to be able to find it because that ice, it turns into a mouse and it can just go into places. Like you think they found with this. You see what they're asking us to believe? Country Gravy Bear says it looks like a squirrel. Interesting. Lean Dion says mice. Oh yeah, this is probably a. Let me find the comment here. I think Dylan. Someone had said that this is a wharf rat. So if you look at the nose. So really quick here, I did a search on compression artifacts just to show you. It's a noticeable distortion of media caused by lossy compression. Lossy data compression involves discarding some of the media's data so it becomes small enough to be stored within the desired disk space or transmitted stream on the available bandwidth, also known as date rate or bit rate. That's why that commenter came in here as bit loss. If the compressor cannot store enough data in the compressed version, a result is a loss of quality or the introduction of artifacts. Look at this here. Artifacts are occasionally intentionally produced for artistic purposes known as glitch art or data moshing. Does this look like glitch art? Does this look like data moshing? Anyone? Rockstar to Be says, how hot should that rocket be? I'd say about room temperature. For that mouse to be alive right now. But I think that this metal here is usually the color of metal. So this is hot. This is like, I don't know. I'll have to ask. In fact, let's find out. Maybe Fight the Flat Earth can do some research on that. Let us know what kind of conditions a mouse would have to undergo to survive this. I mean, I think honestly it would have been roasted inside of the thing. It wouldn't have made it outside of the Earth's atmosphere. A little mouse though like this. Imagine this. I mean, this is the year of the rat. But people are outing themselves as incapable of thinking for themselves. Yeah, Gem Panda said, let me find it here. Is he the one who said it was ice? There's so many comments I have to go through, but anyway, we need to hold the people who defend this thing accountable, make them own it. I mean, it's pretty bad. Here we go. Terman says it's foil. Look at the video in the highest definition. It's clearly foil. Mice are simply not metallic or shiny. Okay, so some guy named Terman says that it's foil. Matt8389 says definitely not compression because compression is small squares and that's too smooth. Foil, ice, and now could it be this? Could it be a ball of aluminum foil and some ice? And so the ice and the foil are going around the edge of the rim of the rocket on the inside. And then that movement of the ice and the foil is being compressed. So could this be a composite of ice and foil and video compression? Could that create a mouse? And the thing is, let's say they attack this piece and they debunk it. There's a few things they'll have to explain here. Like, for example, when it starts, it's underneath this bar. So if you look at the top of the picture on the top right, there's a bar. It starts off on the other side of it and it goes beneath it. So if it goes beneath it, it's not video compression artifacts. It cannot be video compression artifacts. No way, it's beneath this thing. So that's been debunked. It's got a shadow. It's if you look at the nose, frame by frame, and I'm going to bring this out frame by frame. It's not that many, 30 or 40 frames in all the different appearances. I'm going to show you frame by frame. It moves as a mouse does. But what's more, even if you were to debunk this one or claim that, even if you're able to engage in that high level of cognitive dissonance to where you're able to say that it's not a mouse, guess what? This isn't the only time it shows up. It shows up 2 other times. So good luck. Good luck, all you Earth-shaped field agents. Bullet 1536 says maybe it's a mascot for the Space Force, Mighty Mouse. Lean Dion says foil doesn't crawl. Well, maybe if it's moving 800 miles per hour in outer space. Look, I thought that bubbles in space was a winning issue, and that's why we went with it. But they were able to say, no, it's space dust, it's this, it's that, it's. They had so many explanations. They're not going to be able to explain this away. 200 says it looks mousy to me. Does anybody else here think it doesn't look mousy? We've only had one person in here trying to call this a video compression artifact. Like, please call in if you want to do that. 505-510-4226. Call in if you want to try to make the case that this is a video compression artifact. And if you don't mind, explain why. Why are you over here? Commenter says, biggest mouse I've ever seen. Well, how big do you think it is? How big do you think it is? If you're going to make an argument from incredulity saying it's too big, you're assuming that if they're faking it, they're using a full-scale model. Full Metal Jacket says, I've watched the CRS launch 20 times. I keep seeing the mouse. Marty Moose says, Witza agreed, CGI inserted image, somebody that works at SpaceX being pissed at Elon. Yeah, the rocket here, this has to be tiny because that's a normal sized mouse. That's what I think. But look, this is how we know we're winning this conversation. We're moving things forward. None of the people who will defend this anonymously in chat will call in. None of them have the guts to call in. Nobody's going to call me deceived, a liar, a punk, and not have me call in if they give me the number. And I'm saying, hey, fight the flat earth, Mick Tunes, Simon Dan, Godless Engineer, all of you. If you can't call in and defend this, then we know what you are. You're agents, you're shills, and you're not allowed to talk about this. This might be banned. It might be a banned topic. Tim Truth says Mick West lost the credibility he had. Well, you know what? My view on this guy's work, Metabunk's work, not really him, but Metabunk, is that their job is just to reinforce the consensus. It's not about truth. So I knew when I wrote him that he was going to defend the consensus. We did it as a joke. We said, let's just see what kind of crap he comes up with. He slept on and he woke up. He said, oh, that's obviously a video compression artifact. But he didn't supply any screenshots. He didn't zoom in. He didn't change the contrast. He didn't do any due diligence. Yeah, call in if you want to defend the mouse. Is there anybody here willing to defend it? I mean, this is great. This is actually really good. People used to be really vehement about defending the ball, defending the space station, and here they are just conceding, which is great because if this sticks and this continues to propagate, it undermines everything else that they're trying to pass off as real. We need to adopt him. I know it's a rat. I know most of you aren't into the rat thing, but I think we need to adopt this rat as our, I don't know, for the year, maybe a mascot. Russ T27 says, where can I find the full video? Google it. SpaceX CRS-19. The reason why I'm telling people to get it for themselves is one, if I have it on my channel, I'm going to be accused of having tampered with it. And two, you need to go to the source and let them lie to you directly. Go watch the video and see if you're willing to tolerate being lied to directly, from the source. Just Jones says the penguin's mascot. Yeah, I kind of thought about that. Somebody said I should animate a penguin eating the rat, but I'm like, no, the rat's on our side. They've been kidnapped and sent into space, fake space. So they've been kidnapped and put into cages for fake science. You think mice are cool with pseudoscience and propaganda? I don't think so. We're trying to rescue them. This guy might have died. We don't know. Did he die? Was he a martyr? Did he get cooked in the Merlin 1D engine because he's not supposed to be there? Did we just put him in danger by publicizing this? Is Elon Musk out there with one of his flamethrowers running through the warehouse hunting this thing? Yeah, exactly. This is trafficking. We got a commenter. Oh, great. I got an ultra zoomed in video. Hey, what's up, caller?
Yo, man. Can you get the GIF?
Yeah, go ahead and mute your speaker really quick.
Oh, yeah. Can you get the GIF on the stream?
Yes. So the GIF on the screen, what you're looking at is actually have a video. I can zoom in a little more. Well, what do you think it is?
Can you zoom on it?
You want me to zoom in closer? Yes.
Yes. I don't see it on the stream. Oh my god. It's so late. Okay.
I can't zoom in any closer. Can you see it?
No. It's loading.
So this is the CRS-19, and this was on December the
Okay,
5th.
okay. Take a screenshot. Okay, zooming.
See the black line in the middle of the screen? That's the inner rim of the Merlin 1D engine. And
Yeah.
And we're talking about that shape
So,
that moves across
its head shape, compared to its body, it's fucking huge. Did you see this? No.
What do you think? What do you think about the ears?
Not a rat, man. Look at its head. It's fucking huge.
It's a rat.
Have you seen a rat?
It's a wharf rat, is what I've been told. Not a mouse. It's a wharf rat.
What? So that. You say okay? So put the picture of the rat.
Okay. So
The wharf rat. I don't know. I don't get it.
okay. Anyway, let me go ahead and I don't want to be zoomed in that close because I don't want to crash this thing. I just want you to have a good look at it. So does it move like a mouse in your opinion?
No. You said you got a picture of the rat mouse. I don't know. Don't get the name. I'm French.
Oh,
Hello,
yeah,
French community.
Yeah, I've been told it's a wharf rat. Are you in France right now, or are you?
Yeah. No. Quebec, the incest place.
Gotcha. Okay, let's take a look at the wharf rat.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. So it looks like the wharf rat is characterized with a long snout and big ears. I mean, Maybe we should talk to someone, maybe at one of these pet shops, and ask if they can identify. Or maybe I should call the animal control.
Ça y est, pas là. Nothing. Bonne nuit. That's my daddy. Bon. Wait.
Yeah. So anyway, my question here though for you then is,
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that rat?
and it's in space. That's the thing about it that's so wrong. This is in outer space.
No, this is what? His ears are so small. It's not the thing that you see in the video. It's look at his head compared to its body. Put some ruler, do some I don't know what's the name.
Well, I think a lot of it is inside. Like if you look closely, you're not seeing its entire body because its head's popping up, but it's actually inside of the rim. So it's partially concealed, and its tail still extends back quite a bit.
Oh my god, so many. No, dude, it's not a rat. So many excuses and things. No, it's just something that moves. And you associate it with a rat, and it's normal, but no, it's not.
Could it be made out of aluminum foil?
I don't know. I don't know shit about this, but I know it's not a rat.
Could be a mouse.
And so do you.
No, that's a mouse. That's a mouse.
Because it looks like one?
Yeah. That's the first thing. You know, if it looks like something, it probably is something. If it moves like something,
Looks like
it looks
like a mouse.
It moves like a mouse.
In a hole with its head out.
It does. And look, the ears interact with the lighting, and they have shadows.
Bruh.
I've looked at this pixel by pixel, and this is going to bring down SpaceX in 2020.
No, it's nothing, bruh. It's nothing.
I don't know.
Are you even sure there is a hole there? A crack?
Oh yeah, I looked closely at the Merlin 1D engine. I've looked at the entire video, top to bottom, and we found the same mouse more than one
You
time.
have seen pictures of the real engine, this engine.
Yes, it's called the Merlin.
And it has a...
It's the Merlin 1D, and what you're seeing here, this is the engine. In fact, this is the launch from December the 5th.
I don't know what launch it is. I just know that... Bruh, it's not... Look at its head. Okay, let's do something. Okay, so head compared to body, to the length of the body, the diameter, I don't know. You have to make some scientific shit. You have to find out which mouse this is really, and compare its head to body size to real mouse head to body size to prove it scientifically.
Okay, one thing. Let's say this, okay? And I know what you're talking about. We'll do it. But I want to ask you this. If this is a mouse and we prove it to be a mouse, what does it mean?
Yes. I don't know. That they put a fucking mouse in space that was just hanging out?
That's what I'm asking. I mean, this is a big question.
Would that be nice?
If this is a mouse, it cannot possibly be in space. It rules out that possibility.
Why?
Because it's going too fast. Any animal at that
that's
speed,
not the reason.
It's in outer space. It already went through the thermosphere.
Dude, have you seen planes in World War One? Bruh, head sticking out. It's not speed. Bruh, acceleration, it's science, physics. It didn't go to 100 to 0 to 800 miles per second in 1 second. It took acceleration with the rocket.
Okay, well, let me let everybody know. So everyone here
Going
listening,
at the same.
Look,
it's going at the same speed as the rocket.
There's 144 people listening, and I want you all to know you're listening to the voice of someone.
I'm a federal agent.
You're a federal agent, and
I'm paid $10 per hour.
That's it.
to call random numbers on streams.
No, I don't
I'm
think you're.
trying to reason. This isn't a mouse. I don't know what it is. I just know that this is bullshit. And it just looks like a mouse. And I understand that you would say that it's a mouse because it looks like a mouse and act like, but it's not, bruh.
You know what? I was listening to the live video of it, and I actually heard it squeaking. It squeaked like a mouse, it walks like a mouse, and it looks like a mouse. Does that do it
You have
for you?
audio. Next to the rocket, you have audio of the squeaking mouse.
No,
The fucking rocket
I made that part up.
making a supersonic sound, I don't know, fucking explosions, and you hear the squeaking.
Yep. All right. Well, phones
No,
are open.
let's.
I hope that you don't have a lot of money invested into SpaceX because it's going down.
I'm a fucking kid.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate the call, and it's a mouse. You're gonna have to deal with it.
No,
This is year of the
zoom
rat.
zoom on it. Make some research about mouses that could have a head to this body size comparison. I don't know. Some science, find a scientific proof. Don't just, hey, it's a mouse, so space is fake. That's retarded, man.
It's a rat.
Or rat, I don't know.
It's a
Anything
mammal.
that you want it to be.
It's a mammal in space, and it debunks.
Could be a cat. It's so fucking long.
Well, hey, look, the Earth is flat. Just kidding, but we don't know. But we do know that this is fake. Anyway, thanks for the call. I have a couple other people trying to get in. 505-510-4226. We tried our best. What do you have? Arguments from incredulity? That's nothing. Nothing. I'm not going to let this go. I'm curious as to why someone would be so passionate about it. Passionate about what? Defending Elon Musk's reputation? Passionate about defending the space program? This is the best fake space proof we have right now. This is the best proof to show anybody that there are reasons to suspect that we've been lied to about many things. Look here, look at the very top. When it first pops out, it's beneath that bar. That's not a video compression. 777 says he's either LARPing or his agency just doesn't care anymore. That's what I'm thinking. He's getting paid $10 an hour to do this info. The other callers trying to get in. Yeah, if you want to call back again. I'm sorry, I had the ringer off just to be polite when that guy was calling. A commenter says 3008. He says, where's the other callers you said you were trying to get in? You can call in because I can read what you're implying there. So we'll go ahead and remove you, but you can call in if you want to get back in. 505-510-4226. Yeah, that might have been the sound of someone's dreams being crushed. You're not going to be an astronaut when you grow up. Infinite Plane Radio. Hey, what's up, caller?
Howdy, it's Timmy. What's up?
Hey, Timmy. What do you think about Mick West's response that this is a video compression error?
It's definitely the worst of the excuses, for sure. And I've contacted him on Skype with a friendly meme of him. But like I said, I'll make it somewhat quick. I did talk on Jose's. I'll give you the timestamp and the video of that fairly soon once that's done. But I just threw it out there, and a person like Brenda was like, at very first, that no, definitely not. I gave him the video, Brenda, of what I did, the 1080p from the 1080p, and Brenda completely changed tune right there. And I was very surprised that there wasn't some extreme cognitive dissonance about it. He basically said that first off, it was like, I don't see any legs. And I said, well, he's kind of walking in a crack there, first off. And then once he watched that, he's pretty convinced it did appear to look like that. And so we have a bunch of globe kind of people looking at it, and spoiler alert, at the end, some of them were looking at ice in space, and then kind of it ended up being that it was ice, and there was a guy that works on movies, I guess, and he was just flabbergasted. That's the stupidest claim ever. DKG custom, stupidest thing ever. And I just kept asking, then what is it? This is official video that I looked at myself. I was very skeptical at first. When I finally saw what you were looking at, I looked a little closer. I took it into After Effects, tried to brighten it up a little bit so that you could actually see what's happening. And I'm not convinced in any way. I'll put that out there. I'm not really sure. It appears to be an animal walking, number one, from its movement. But number two, it does look like a mouse or it's some kind of a rat, perhaps. So I'm not sure. I'm not saying it is either one way or the other. I'm just saying that this is one of the best, I guess, kind of space hoax kind of videos that I've seen. I can't explain it. That's it.
Yeah, I appreciate your call and your insight, and definitely good trolling around with this thing because everybody needs to be held to the same standard, which is reality, if we're going to get to the truth. And for all we know, I could be right, and we could see someone get fired for inserting a digital artifact. I mean, we do have the best CGI people work for these space agencies for all their modeling and everything, their simulations. So it's not like they don't have the talent there, that if somebody wanted to tamper, they could do it, especially on this particular shot because this is a mounted camera. So you don't have to worry about the background moving. If you were to insert something into the shot, it's actually kind of easy.
Well, we can watch things like Star Wars and some of these newer videos that are completely animated, and it looks somewhat real. We know it's fake because it's not actually happening in space or whatever. So, they do have the best of the best. That does call into question just like what I said before about space bubbles, where you have white bubbles on a black background. That would be the easiest to crop out. So I made a video once you went to the whole New Mexico, council or whatever about some of the debunks I had for you, and said that, that would be the easiest to crop out. But this artifact, whatever it may be, would be actually pretty hard to insert, in my opinion. So it's ice that's in the shape of a mouse that moves like a mouse. We have video artifact from basically just McWest that I've seen so far, and that it's foil. So that's what we have so far, and I'm just questioning people. I'm not saying that it's this or that. I'm saying that it looks like a mouse, looks like a rat, looks like something living, moving, walking across. That's what I can observe. So that's what it is, what I have right now.
Yeah, right now that's where I'm at too. Like, I'm not going to assert it is a mouse because this could be like an Easter egg. This could be a prank. It could be an internal joke where Musk said, hey, we're sending mighty mice into space. Could you do this? They could have done this as a layer and had it ready to go in advance. So, I mean, this could be some type of a joke. I don't know. Again, we don't know yet, but the best I can do is try to get as many opinions as I can. And like you listed them off: ice, aluminum foil, video compression artifacts. So that's what we're at right now.
Yep, and people who, not to say strictly flat earthers in my case, just saying when you can, the whole it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck kind of thing. Well, it looks like an animal walking by. At first, even when I first talked to you about it, it looked like somewhat like a slithering snake a little bit, but then you have the ears that flat back a little bit. So I've looked at it many, many different times. I just don't see it being any of those three excuses so far. So I'm just searching for what people think about it, and I'm open-minded about it. Maybe there's a positive, reasonable explanation for it, but at this time it seems to be something living to me.
Right, and I mentioned earlier before, we had a mouse infestation in my backyard when I was a teen, and I remember taking the pellet gun out and shooting at them as they'd run across the fences or through the bushes. And When you're hunting mice, you see how they are when they move. They're low to the ground, they creep like little snakes, and you don't always see the whole thing at once. You might just see it brush by. So here, all we're really seeing, if it is a mouse, is basically the head and all along his back, but we don't even see his entire tail because he's inside of that crevice.
Yeah, I agree, and that's kind of what I was saying to Brenda at first about. Well, I don't see legs. I don't see legs. Well, it seems to be kind of in that crevice, as you said. It seems to be in kind of a crack. And then Brenda actually said that. Well, yeah, now I actually see kind of movement, and it seems to be like it has legs. So it's an interesting kind of thing. And of course, with the Tesla in space, with the Don't Panic, and the whole uh, thing with Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy, with the mice being the main kind of smart individuals that are leading everyone and stuff, and the computer that's computating these things, and it seems like deep learning. It seems like maybe it was inserted at this point.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting conundrum, and I look forward to throwing this in the face of Fight the Flat Earth and Red's rhetoric just to see if I get any honest answers, if anything.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Hopefully, we can drum up some attention on it. Like I said, I was on Jose's, and I'll give you that time link for exactly when I started that conversation because it kind of blew up in the chat. Very controversial, and there's some pretty smart individuals as far as globe people on there, and they started showing ice in space and all this stuff. So I don't know what it is, but like I said, it moves like an animal. So anyway, thanks. Hopefully, other people who are in disagreement with you can simply call you up and have a conversation. So thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for the call. I appreciate the work and the research. Have a great night. All right, everyone, that's Tim Ostman, who is not a flat earther. In fact, he's been one of the biggest critics of the people who say unequivocally they know it's flat because the Bible tells me so, or they know it's flat because this video on YouTube. But here's something that really, apart from that whole topic, this is something that I think is interesting because it will reveal who is honest with themselves and their own perceptions, and who will default, who will look at something like this and then say, no, that shouldn't be, so I'm not going to believe it to be. And what I know to be a fact too, and you could test this, you could show this to someone and say, hey, look, my friend who's a video editor inserted a mouse. Do you think it looks real? And people would say, yeah, it looks real. But if you told them, hey, this is from SpaceX, of course they're going to try to side with SpaceX's explanation. Rosie Bear says, I looked up the pics and there are mice that have ears just like that. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, look, it walks like a mouse. It has a shadow like a mouse. It's really, to me, it's not even a question at this point. The real question is who put it there and why. And I'm not sure if we're going to get that answer. I'm going to put a link in the chat. Actually, I have a link on, I'll give you on subscribestar.com/Tim Osman. I'll give you a link. It's a public post, and you'll be able to share it. And then it also has a link to the GIF, and then you can also download the video itself. I think the best thing we can do right now is spread this information out there. And don't give them any plausible deniability. They got away with the bubbles in space thing, which I thought was a deal breaker for their whole space station and spacewalks and all the rest. And no, it didn't change anything. Hey, if you just called, please call back one more time. I had the ringer off. You'll have to hang up and call back once more. Just call right back. 505-510-4226. I'll pick up on the next ring. Wide Awake says it's Mighty Mouse. Well, look at the headlines. If you look at the headlines, that day, it was all about sending genetically modified mice into space. Okay, here we go. What's up, caller? Is that a mouse or is that aluminum foil?
It's definitely the appearance of a mouse or a rat. I don't know if it's a real or CGI. It looks pretty real, and it's an amazing phenomenon here, seeing people have to come to terms with their cognitive dissonance here. I think there's been plenty of proof for the past couple decades now that there's a lot of inconsistencies and fabrications with these space agencies, private and public. And it's funny seeing these people have to come to terms with it. And even if you go to this video on, I think, SpaceX's page, the top comments in the comment section are all about, with the timestamps, it's like, hey, did you guys see the rat on the engine there? So it's really an amazing phenomenon. I think these so-called skeptics who just come up with excuses for the establishment are really a disgrace to the term. Really makes me mad to see people like Mick West just try to explain away everything, all the Achilles heels of the establishment. And who's that Michael Shermer dude? Or, there's all these people that call themselves skeptics, but are the absolute opposite of what that term should mean.
Oh yeah, this is going to be revealing because it's going to show who's objective and who's not. And look, if I was someone who was defending this thing and someone said this looks like a rat, I wouldn't just say, no, it's not, you're dumb. I would say, well, let me show you how it's not one. I would zoom in, I would take it frame by frame, and I would analyze it. But one thing this video clip does have, and if you look at it frame by frame, it has integrity. There's no morphing. Its proportions are perfectly the same. And at the bottom of its movements here, you can actually see the eye that's on the side facing the left. You can actually see the eye on the side of its face in one of the frames.
Yeah, especially at the end of the clip here, and you can see its tail. I mean, when you zoomed in for that cozy door dude, it was very telling when you zoomed in. So my question is, was this? I know that Tim Osman did some digging on this. Did he enhance this at all?
No, he zoomed in, and then as far as enhancements, I think what we might have is a little bit of a adjustment in the contrast, maybe, but
because I found some tools on the internet that claim to help with blurriness. I just wonder maybe we can get something from trying to enhance and get the blurriness out of this. But it's pretty obvious, especially when we zoom in. When you zoom in on that GIF.
Yes, in fact, I have 1080 enhanced. I do have that, and that's what I put on my page. The 1080 enhanced footage is actually clearer than the Jiffy. This is what's so great about it, is that I've been showing people this Jiffy so they can walk away maybe half-assed convinced that there's some ambiguity, which there's not. But if you look at the actual original footage, 1080 enhanced, it is undeniable. It even looks more real and more fluid in its movements than the Jiffy I showed.
Well, you pointed out the right ear of the mouse brushing up against the side of it. It's just, I don't know, it's pretty obvious to me. Although the one thing I would point out is it does look a little cartoonish in the sense of like the ears, kind of like Mickey Mouse ears. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe that's an actual type of rat. You mentioned the wharf rat. I'm no biologist, although that would be interesting to see if we could get anyone to like find the taxonomy or whatever it's called of it. But this is just a gold mine here.
What I know for a fact too, though, is that they're not shooting this thing live from outer space. If this thing, they're not. So this is all done in a production studio before it's broadcast as quote live. The rocket launch might be live, but when they cut to the outer space scene, that's pre-produced. So this looks like something that was inserted on the cutting room floor in advance. And so it's more likely to me that this is a cartoon mouse put into the footage. And this tells you one thing, it's not live. And two, that who knows? Like let's say tomorrow someone from SpaceX comes out and says, "Hey, I did it. It was a joke." All the people who defended it are going to look that much dumber.
Well, they can't. I mean, it's hard for them to look much dumber, but yeah, that would certainly, I guess, be one way to achieve that. But I just can't believe, I don't have any respect, and I don't think they have any credibility. These people who just explain away everything. I mean, how are we supposed to listen to them for any type of insights? I mean, they're just coming up with excuses. It harkens back, and I think it's great that we had this precedent. When you were talking and so-called debating, I don't know if it was technically a debate, with Red's rhetoric, and you brought up that the shadow of the ISS that came along through the footage, and he said it was a smudge. He's just coming up with an explanation for it, either rationalizing it to his own indoctrinated mind, or maybe something more nefarious. Maybe he's a bad actor and trying to help do its job, help the agencies he works for indirectly. But it's pretty amazing what we have here. I just remember you going to the town hall talking about bubbles in space, and this just takes it to the whole next level.
Well, the next meeting, if I want to do another city council meeting, it's this next Monday, and I'm considering it. If people want me to do it, I might go down there and tell the city council that there's a clear case of animal abuse in the ISS, not with the test subject rats, but that they were rats on the outside of the rocket that did go into space and presumably they cooked. So I would bring that out on record, and I would bring this clip, or I would just say, look up CRS-19 mouse on rocket in outer space.
Right. Well, the Mick West response of it being a image compression issue, is that what he said?
He said it's a compression artifact.
That's just so ridiculous. Like, how are we supposed to listen to this guy? I mean, Tim Osman was talking about how he believes he's legitimate or something, and he's actually going to try an experiment where he does a big explosion in the desert to see if a passport can come out unscathed. I mean, I have to give Tim Osman some props here for, admitting what is so obvious to everyone who looks at this. But you're right. All it would take is for SpaceX to come out and say it was a joke. And but yeah, I'm looking at it right now. At the very last frame, you can see the eyes of the.
And
look, amazing.
I want to just continue to harp on this until somebody responds. I'm also kind of curious to see who's going to talk about it. Will Mark Sargent put out a video on this? If it's something that actually threatens the program, will any of the gatekeepers actually cover it? So, for example, will Deep Inside the Dearth, will he cover it? Will Jeranism cover this thing? Because this is bad enough and revealing enough to actually damn the whole program, and if they're gatekeepers, they probably won't touch it. I'm not sure who else has, but so far we've been on it since it came out.
Well, there's so much that tears down the legitimacy of their claims. I mean, just looking at what they claim as far as how they went to the moon and back, with orbiting the Earth a couple times, slingshotting off into the orbit of the moon, and then landing, and then popping back off and orbiting the moon and slingshotting back to the Earth and then into the ocean. And it's all so preposterous. They must just be laughing that people will believe whatever they say. Maybe this is part of that. Maybe this is them, an inside Easter egg joke that they can point at and and say, look what we got away with. But it's definitely very fascinating. And I've just come to the point where I don't believe it. And, I'm not really inclined. I guess it is important to try to teach people about the deception, but it's nice when something like this falls in our laps and it's just so incredibly obvious. And, this meme is worth billions of dollars in terms of its power to red pill people.
And
so it's just a matter of how...
Year of the Rat. What do you think about that little connection?
Fascinating one. Definitely a fascinating one. And I think we need to brainstorm and try to think of how to maximize the impact of this revelation here, of this piece of footage, be it, clamoring for a statement from SpaceX, or bringing it to PETA, or, all sorts of different things, taking it to biologists. You mentioned the pet shop. We really ought to be able to make something of this. I mean, we can see that the tail, the ears, the eyes, and even if it is CGI, which is a definite possibility, it just proves that they are messing with CGI, and that would be next to impossible on live footage. You know what I mean? Like, we know that what you said earlier, there's no benefit of them actually doing this footage live. It's probably pre-produced, and it just it raises so many questions, and especially if you're still in the Matrix. But I'm just trying to brainstorm. There's got to be some way that we can, I don't know, maybe not put out a press release, but
Hey, that's not a bad idea there. Interviews are good. This is why I reached out to Mick West. I figured I'm going to call SpaceX's PR. I'm going to call PETA.
yeah,
Like, I'm not going to let this thing go. I think if we keep making a big deal about a mouse, it's poetic, I think, in a way, that this billionaire, his whole operation, they're so, I think, arrogant that they played an inside joke like this. That's what I think. And so if we keep pushing, I would be going to city council if I have to. I'm willing to do it, just because we want to make this unignorable and make them come up with a bunch of ridiculous excuses for our amusement.
right. We ought to spin up a website like with a really easy to transmit like URL to people where they go and they see this GIF and the videos, so we can call up like Congress people and say just go to issrat.com or something. I don't know. I think we have to get creative here and try to really make this viral,
Well,
because
speaking of
we
creative,
need to infest the establishment.
yeah, I was actually earlier today. I started a painting of this thing, which what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this to the best of my ability, and then put it up for sale. But yeah, we need to keep this thing going out there, keep remixing it, putting it to videos, making memes about it. That's why I put the GIF here for everybody. But this is something that if we can force responses to, it'll get really polarizing. Because, I mean, look how it is when you have a lot of people who know what it is, and then we watch somebody try to lie. It's pretty fun, and it's very polarizing. And this could be something that just blows up out of control because they don't have any immediate damage control. You really can't.
Right.
What are you going to say it is?
There's no good answer to it. And they're already getting on the record with certain, I'm trying to think of the term, but Mick West is coming out and not even giving it like a probability chance, but he's saying it is because of compression issues. Like, how is that scientific? How is that being skeptical? I mean, that's just setting yourself up to be wrong. I mean, who talks like that in terms of uncertainties like that with something that it doesn't even come close to explaining? So I really do think that we should try to get this out there. And I think it's tax fraud. I think it's a fraud on the American people, because I know SpaceX is getting lots of tax money and debt money. And as is, I think, Tesla. It seems like Elon Musk is like one of the biggest welfare queens out there. So it's maybe we can send it to the Republican base in terms of like, look at, they're stealing our money. You know, Trump signed off on that $1.4 trillion appropriations bill for 2020 budget, and they're just laughing at us, it looks like. Or there's a mouse crawling on the set that they didn't notice.
Yeah.
Although, did you notice that they transferred, or they switched the shot like right after this? Almost as if they were like, oh, shoot. It's kind of like that 9/11 clip where the plane pops out the other side of the building and they fade to black. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I see that. I think somebody suggested that we set up a site, maybe call it like Elon Musk Rat or something like that, or something, but somewhere we can direct people. We put all of our best images of this, the best breakdowns. Like, one thing I'm going to do tonight is, if you zoom in on it as it is now and you turn it 90 degrees to the left, it makes a lot more sense. Like, if you turn your head to the right, you can actually perceive that the mouse is walking on a flat surface. It's a wide little alleyway he has there. And when you look at it from that angle, you can actually see even better where the eyes are situated. And then you can see where its legs are as they move, and the shadow. And then you get a little better glimpse of the tail. So yeah, this is one of the best pieces of footage we could possibly have to really cause. This is our WTC7.
Yes, exactly. And just looking at, you mentioned this earlier, the metal, just how hot it is there. We ought to be able to, get some heat temperatures that metal does that. And it does make more sense if it's vertical with that going down, which I guess is what it would be if it was actually flying into space. But you can see up at the top left that they're in the vacuum of space or near vacuum conditions. And I don't really mean like the vacuum, but just no atmosphere. So it shouldn't be able to breathe and walk around, it being that hot and so little air. And then I just want to kind of note here that the foil over there is kind of just like, it has some movement, but it's not like extreme or anything. So it just seems really fake. If I had to guess, it's a green screen with fake background and then a to-scale model. But I don't know how they'd achieve the coloring of the metal unless it's just painted orange like that.
Well, look,
just trying to reverse engineer this shot.
Looking back at some of the older footage, we've seen things with the space shuttles that are way goofier than this. Like there's one where it's clearly a scale model, and you have an astronaut behind it, and they're saying, no, that's a reflection of somebody in a mirror. No, it's a human.
Right, the guy's head is right there. You can see his bare face, just like looking like a doofus next to it.
Yeah, and that was years ago, and nothing came of it, right? The difference now is they're goofing up like they always do, but now you've got 150 people watching and listening and sharing it, saying, hey, look at this goofy stuff they're trying to pass off as real. So I just think that right now it's just the truth has a platform where before it did not. So they've always been this bad, and they've always been this arrogant.
Absolutely, and that's what kind of where I'm at this point. There's so many things like the car in space. What was that one? Spaceman or whatever. There's so many things that if you still believe in it, I guess they're not. I guess they're victims of brainwashing and mind control for the most part. But at this point, we have enough ammunition that we really ought to be able to wake up anyone. So it's up to us, I guess, to counter the immense resources used against the population. But it's great to see you pushing this hard. I wish you the best of luck getting this out there. I can help set up that website if we find a good domain. We ought to find one that like doesn't. I don't know. I don't really like the Elon Musk rat one, just because I don't know. I don't want it to sound trollish. I want it to like sound professional.
Yeah, you can't use his name in a domain. I think that would be an infringement, and it would be hard to compete. So no, we want something definitely, though. I think you're right about that. We do need a place to put this and make this a thing, make this particular glitch in the matrix its own little spin-off, because if we keep forcing the issue, they will address it, and their responses are going to be great, because I want someone who's a specialist in video editing to look at this thing. I bet we could find somebody on Fiverr right now and say, hey, will you look at the 43-minute mark on the CRS-19 launch from 12.5 and let me know how what this is? Can you analyze it from your professional opinion? Or maybe not even tell them the source. Just give them the clip and say, what is this? Is this compression? Could you repeat this? I mean, in other words, let's just get as many minds to look at this thing until we get the right answer.
Yeah, well, it's definitely, if we can't use this, then what are we doing? Trying to wake people up. If we can't use like a picture of a mouse crawling on this this rocket engine here, when it's live and supposed to be up in the middle of space, dropping stuff off of the isn't this going to the ISS, which is traveling 17,500 miles per hour?
Oh yeah,
is that what they say?
Oh yeah, that mouse is going 15K.
It's so ridiculous. It's pretty funny. So I kind of think that they're joking, but even if they come out and say they were joking, it's a bad look for them, because it proves that they're not serious. It proves that they're not, an objective scientific organization. And they're mixing in CGI with the launch. But I think it's a to-scale model, or not to scale, but not the size they claim. And they got caught with a mouse running on it. But I could be wrong, but there's something here. So keep up the great work, IPS. I'll get off in case someone wants to come and explain this.
Cool.
But I
Well,
wish them the best of luck doing that.
thanks a lot. Appreciate the call, Tim Truth, and drop a link to your channel below. Have a great night. Happy New Year.
All right, you too.
Okay, phones are still open, 505-510-4226. So what we're talking about here is this mouse. What you're seeing on the screen right there isn't a mouse, according to one expert I consulted with. That is actually a video compression artifact. It only looks like a mouse. Marty Moose says, did anybody else see Elon's armored glass live demo getting the windows broken? Yeah, his indestructible car, that's basically a replica of something from the movie Blade Runner, which was created in the 80s, produced in the 80s, but it took place in Los Angeles, 2019. He releases this thing in 2019. Same month, I think it was November. But he brings out this indestructible vehicle, and they tap it, and it just basically falls apart. Then he had that grain silo, which he called, I think he called it Starship, and it blew up. So he's been having a few little things here that made it look like, are they trying to destroy your confidence in this guy? But honestly, I don't think that they meant for this to get out. The most likely explanation, according to Occam's razor, in my point of view, would be this was probably an insert. They did it on purpose. Why would they do it? As a joke. It'd be easy to do. Somebody did it as a joke, and I actually think that Elon's in on it, because if you look at the original footage, if you weren't looking, you wouldn't see it. Most people missed it. And this is zoomed in. This wasn't really meant to be seen. I really don't think so. Which kind of makes us insiders. Like, we know more about the inner workings of SpaceX and the people who work there and think it's real. I mean, what kind of dupes, would you have to be? I wonder if any SpaceX employees, is there any chance you could get one of them to see this? Or let's just look. Tim was saying we need to come up with some ways to get this thing out there. I would say share this video, share this meme, share this GIF with people you know who do video editing for a living. You don't even have to give them a context. Marty Moose says, inside joke or someone trolling Elon. Look, if I was certain that space was real and the space station was real, my first go-to would be inside joke. And Musk is also sending pot into space to the space station, you're right. Like, they might have this corporate culture where there's pranks and Elon's just being funny and eccentric and they go along with it. But this wasn't part of like a press release. It wasn't like they advertised it. This actually happened on the 5th, and the first time I think anybody pointed it out was probably a week and a half later. Jordan says, if it's not a rodent, what could it be? Yeah, people have just been saying it's either space ice or space aluminum foil congealing into the shape of a mouse at 15,000 miles per hour, which is remarkable. It really is. It'd be like driving through a snowstorm and the snow forms itself into a little snowman hood ornament. Like, that's remarkable. Why wouldn't they want to put this out in front and say, hey, look, not only did we send mice into space, but on that mission where we actually sent genetically modified mice into space, on that very mission, the space ice formed into a mouse on the engine. That's great, isn't it? Like, that is worth talking about. Astronomy Picture of the Day, NASA, they ought to publicize this and say, hey, look, talk about weird coincidences. What looks like a mouse, but is actually just ice and aluminum foil, appeared on the jet engine on the very trip that was carrying genetically modified mice to space. This is your weird news of, whatever. This is like a weird news story. This is a cool science story. Tell your kids, look, this is not only science-y, but it's also very eerie as far as coincidences go. Red's Rhetoric says, that's not a mouse, that's a smudge. Yeah, and that's not a YouTuber, that's a government agent. Sam Cam says, I've seen the original footage. There's something else that follows the same path. Well, what you're looking at with this path here is the inner rim of this thing. And what we've seen throughout this footage is it looks like more than one. And if you've ever seen multiple mice, like if a mice infestation, one of them comes down from the other side. He's not alone, is what I'm saying. What I think is happening here, if it's not a cartoon, then it's more than likely a family of mice living in the engine who were roused when they started filming this little movie. Marty says Reds blew it when he made that smudge thing up on the spot. Mudflutter says we can spin this to have people think that there are robot mice everywhere watching us now. Well, that's the story behind the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The mice are all pan-dimensional hyper-intelligent beings that are actually our boss. And Elon Musk uses that movie and references to that movie all over his stuff. The Starman thing was Don't Panic, which is a reference to that movie, Escaping the Earth. Pippi says it's a penguin in disguise. Or it could be on a penguin's payroll, because it's definitely helping what we're doing here. The penguin agenda. Speak penguin or die. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that. If you know what speak penguin or die means, put a hashtag SPOD in the chat or just copy and paste this one. Just want to know if everybody knows what it means by now. We're not threatening to kill people. And the penguins aren't going to come here and kill you. Speak penguin or die is just a message overall to the people who are suggesting that the Earth is not a globe. Your movement's going to die if it doesn't learn to speak penguin. That is, if it doesn't go deep, deep, deep south, Antarctica and beyond, it's going to die in a conference room. The conference Earthers. It's going to turn into a Bible study. How productive is that? Bible study? You have the key to tearing down the major deceptions of your time, and you're going to go read about Noah's Ark and take it seriously. Literally. Jose Martinez says Elon Musk next call is going to be Orkin. Yeah, I did a meme based off that, because like I said, someone had said to me that this is a compression artifact. I'm like, okay, I get it. If that's a compression artifact, and we have a few other ones. Let's go through a couple of these memes here. That one's not relevant, so we're not going to look at this one. I think that's Ronnie and Johnny Laffenberg, two friends of the show. But no, this is what I was looking at. The best way to prevent video compression artifacts is with the year-round pest control plan. Mick West. Now, he didn't say that specifically, but pretty much. He said, it's a video compression artifact. Okay, well, by that logic, if that mouse is a video compression artifact, then these are video compression artifacts. And if you want to prevent infestations of video compression artifacts, you got to call the Orkin man and have a year-round plan. Don't even let them breed. Yeah, Marty Moose, it does. Marty Moose says, it reminds me of those toys that look like a mouse attached to a ball that roll around the motor inside. Exactly. It does. That's exactly what it looks like. And look, I cleaned out sheds. I've cleaned out old places where there have been mice inside. We had a big issue here with hantavirus, and I was doing biohazardous cleanup as a side gig, and I cleaned out some cabins. In the basement of this cabin, of this prepper, there was a whole lot of deer mice, and the deer mouse, it has very large ears. Very cute, but their droppings are essentially toxic. So I had to go into the crawl space and do a wet decontamination, just basically 5-gallon buckets of water with bleach, super tropical bleach, and just flooded it and mopped. I mean, I had buckets and buckets of rat junk. Just, it was a mess. But yeah, space hantavirus. They could catch a virus in space from one of these things, like the plague. Anyway, I spent a lot of time looking at mice. I was never working as an exterminator. But however, one thing I did observe is they build nests in all kinds of things. And inside of a vehicle, in fact, I saw one, you started the vehicle and the mice would run out the bottom. So what this looks like to me is that if it's not a CGI mouse put by a prankster, a whole bunch of mice are living inside of this thing, and they cranked it on, and they're flushed out. Joseph Shumter said Tower 7 didn't kill himself. Wide Awake says it's Fievel, somewhere out there. Ron Sheckelson, Space Rat. But look, let's put this in context, because we're talking about genetically modified mice sent into space on this very launch. That's the part of it that seals the deal for me, that this is in fact some type of a joke. And so I'm looking at the mice that they sent, and it doesn't look like one of these ones, does it? Scientists are sending mighty mice into space. Their strength is through genetic experimentation to prevent astronauts from losing muscle in microgravity. NASA sent 40 mice on the SpaceX Dragon launch in its Mighty Mice in Space experiment. Scientists hope that by blocking the action of myostatin within the mice and inducing muscle and bone growth, they can counter the effects of microgravity. Okay, so this launch happened December 5th. This was the 19th SpaceX commercial resupply service. They have this contract with NASA. So I don't know if this is one of the ones that they sent. This is a stock photo. But the one that we see doesn't look like the type of mouse that they would use in experiments. It does look very cartoony. It does look like a rat. Some said a wharf rat. The more I look at it, the more I think this was done by a CGI expert. And what is SpaceX if not a company that employs the best CGI experts money can buy? All K All Day says Mousetronaut 2020. I kind of want to adopt him. Can the IPS adopt him? Maybe we can call SpaceX and ask if we can we saw that there was a stray rat. It got away. It's not one of the, like, how many rats went up there? Do they have a head count? Are there 39 mice up in the ISS right now, or 40? Because this is an escapee. And having looked at the footage, there might even be a second escapee and possibly a third. I'll leave my phones open for a few more minutes here if anyone else has any commentary on it. If you have any kind of theories that could explain it, by all means, you're welcome to call in and share. Basically, I want to know, what do you think we're looking at here? And given that it was on a mission where they were sending mice up there anyway, to me it's even more likely that this is some type of if not a prank, maybe even malicious sabotage. Like, I can't really rule that out. I'm sorry if I just hit the mute button accidentally. I have to take a break now. Unless anybody has any final words here. This is Chief Crow and the Flat Earth Worms. Space is fake AF. I'll put a link below. And yeah, I do think that we're going to continue to hammer on this. We'll be in the Discord server memeing. So if you're a meme tech, we do want to draw attention to this. We want to take it apart, frame by frame. I do want to do a frame by frame analysis. I want to zoom in. And I want to determine if we can find out, is this more likely to be an animation of a mouse, or an actual mouse, maybe even an insert. Cam B says Andrew Yang link. Oh yeah, by all means, bring it. You know, it's movie magic everywhere, not just in outer space. The movie magic that they're using here is also used in politics. It's used in the celebrity drama. It's used in archaeology. It's used in all the sciences. Movie magic is pretty much part of how the oligarchs have figured out how to govern the masses. The television is there for brainwashing. Entertainment is a side effect. 777 says, is Chief Crow still making tunes? Oh, yeah. In fact, we have Auto Hoax, or GTFO, is his latest track. I'll put a link below. Happy New Year, everyone. This is Space is Fake AF. Chief Crow and the Flat Earthers.
You can see the stars.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and
we were never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon.
It's not black and white. I mean, it's black, but there's all kinds of little polka dots.
Space is fake AF. Space is fake AF.
There's more than stars. You can see planets. You can see moons.
you see the gas.
Puppet dumping. Said the sky was not the limit. We fly to the moon in another second. But we haven't been back since 1972. Destroyed all the papers and blew up the Challenger crew. Except for the twinsies. Space is fake AF. Space is fake AF.
Look out into deep space away from the sun. It's the darkest black you can imagine.
Hey space boy, you broke my rocket man heart. Where are the stars? Is it bright or is it dark? The vacuum of space, oh the tomfoolery.
What happens if you get a leak on that? You have a leak.
Deep under my bubble.
It's hard to comprehend.
Space is fake AF.
Two little bitty O-rings.
Space is fake AF.
It's not what you think, homeboy.
Space is fake AF.
It's all just start doing this.
Space is fake AF.
Research Eddie Bravo. You just
The concept of auto hoax preemptively calling out things as fake if they're not accompanied by evidence and their extraordinary claims, that's a philosophical approach. And it is in defense of